Good morning, friends. On our quest of creating ecology of a happy life, we have reached the point where we are exploring the social dimension and, in particular, the concept of love. Where to find love, how to find love, what we can do to create lasting relationships. So, at this point, we are still exploring where to find love or how to find the right person in our life, and of course, we will also explore what we can do to create better relationships in existing relationships, how to remove the causes of unhappiness in the existing relationships. But there is one more topic that I want to share with you about finding love or finding the right person, uh, which I believe is a little bit in the territory of esoterics. You see, I am no dating expert, so I cannot tell you you should go to meet people on this place, or you should find people, you could find people here or there. I mean, that's not my expertise, and that is the matter of practical things which I believe you are in the best position to choose. Like I was saying yesterday from Bhagavad Gita, that our authority is on action. We should do everything in our power. Ask your friends, explore wherever possible, at work, outside work, in friend circle. But that is the practical things which I have no right to offer you any suggestion in that area, because I know nothing about that. However, there is still something we can do, from if we move a little into the territory of esoterics. There is something we can do which can help us to attract the right person or a right compatible partner in our life. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is we are living this territory of rationality and logic, and we will go for a moment, for a day, into the territory of esoterics. So I want to share with you, friends, a wonderful technique which I discovered in the 1990s, and over a period of time I have had opportunity to experiment with it several times with hundreds of thousands of people, and my clients, and they have also reported fantastic results. So which is what I would like to share with you, and we have perfected that technique over a period of more than 20 years. Now, we all know, like in the last several years, there is this new age manifestation topic coming up. There are lots of teachers in teaching which will show you how to attract a particular thing or a situation in life. For example, this law of attraction kind of thing. Like there was this book, The Secret, and so many other things like creative visualization, affirmations. Now, this is a material which is available in the market. There are hundreds of books written about them. There are lots of seminars about them. And if it would definitely give results as it promised, the world will be a different place by now. Unfortunately, it is not. Not because there is something, what they are doing is wrong, but because the entire idea of manifesting or attracting something, it's a very good idea, but the techniques which are used, these techniques primarily use the mind to attract. Like they try to change the blocks of mind with the help of mind, and I said to you earlier, like trying to change mind with mind is not going to work, because we need to go a level above the mind. So the technique which I would like to share with you, it will totally bypass the conscious mind, and it will go to the source, and that is where we will work and try to create something which will eventually attract or manifest a particular situation. Now, of course, for the moment we are going to use this in the context of finding or attracting the right partner in life, but it is not limited to that. People have used it to attract more prosperity. People have used it to attract the right work. People have used it to get to the state of peace, inner peace. I myself have used it at many occasions to go beyond certain kinds of fears or phobias, and people have used it for, you know, getting healthier, experiencing more vitality and energy, and the results are amazing. I'm not here to market the technique. I'm here to share with you the technique. You experiment yourself, and your experience will reflect the results, and that will be the proof. I mean, the results you get, that will be the proof of the work, the effectiveness of technique. Anyways, so let's get into the technique, how we can do and what we can do. Over the last couple of decades, the world has become a very small place, like, with the invention and expansion of the internet, everyone is connected to everyone. It's like earlier, if you had, like I remember, even if you had to make a phone call from one town to another town, you had to book a trunk call, and wait until the operator will call you back that I have connected, and you might have to wait several hours. And now it's also connected thanks to the internet. Look at you and me. Many of us have never met in person, and yet we are connected through the magic of this internet. So, one of the ways people use this internet in today's days, for example, you have an apartment or a house, and you want to sell it. So what would you do? You will go to a particular website which is about buying and selling of apartment, and you will put your advertisement there. My apartment with 3 bedrooms, kitchen, 2 balconies, and XYZ, and then you wait. Now, the magic of internet lies here, that you are the one who wants to sell an apartment, but then there are other people in the world who want to buy an apartment, and they are also looking for in different websites, like, okay, fine, I want to buy an apartment, and some of them may have the similar requirements. For example, they might have the requirement, I need an apartment with 3 bedrooms, kitchen, and 2 balconies, and somehow you who has this thing and the one who wants this thing, you get connected through this magic of the internet. Now, just as the internet allows us to find the right resources, there is something much more powerful than the outer internet that we have. The outer internet that we use here, it is simply a shadow, even a pale shadow of the real thing which is inside of us, which I call, this is my, I have coined this word, I call it the inner net. The inner net is something, it is a network where you and me and everyone else who is alive and who has ever lived before, everyone are connected at some point, at the deep, I don't like to use this word unconscious, but psychology will use the word deep unconscious, but we can say that there is a point where you and me, we are all connected, where, let's say, this is our individual mind, and then subconscious mind, and then below that there is this ocean of consciousness, where there is no such thing as my thought and your thought. There is the thoughtosphere, and it's like at that level, all the information existing in this world is one. Like, there is one pool, one ocean of information available to all of us at that level. At the conscious level, only a tiny bit of it is available to us. If we could go there, this is like this pool of consciousness is also the, I mean, it also holds all the information of all the experiences experienced by everyone who has ever lived on this earth. And not only that, it includes all the inner resources which are required within itself. Now, if only we have a way to reach to that inner net, to that pool of consciousness, and put our advertisement that this is what I am willing to have in life. Just like the outer internet will connect with you and find the buyer that you are looking for your apartment, the inner net, the information spreads through the inner net, and somehow it would reach to the right person, and somehow, I do not know the mechanisms, but the life eventually gets the two of you together, like the one who wants something and the one who has something. So eventually, this is also like putting some kind of advertisement, not on the outer internet but on the inner net. However, the secret lies in how do you put the advertisement there. Words and affirmations will not work. You have tried them, right? If they have worked for you all the time, you would have been a different person by now. You would have been the best version of yourself which you have been looking for. So what can we do? So the secret of this technique lies in the language of universe. If you want to communicate to the universe, if you want to use the collective consciousness of every individual who has ever lived, you need to talk to the universe in the language of universe. And the language of universe is not the words that we use, because like we all have we all come from a different language groups. Like my original language is Gujarati because I am from the Gujarat part of India, and in India itself there are so many languages, like the more than 30 official languages which is accepted in government documents, and you have different languages, so the language is a barrier when it comes to communicating with the universe. However, there is a universal language which goes beyond all the barriers of this language that we use, like English, Russian, Hindi, Spanish and all this. So the universal language comprises of two things: symbols and sounds. That's right. Symbols or archetypes which are common in all the cultures across the world. Every culture that, it's so interesting. Like for example, many cultures, they didn't even communicate with each other for thousands of years. One was in the far east, one was in the far west, and if you discover their archetypes, you'll be amazed that in spite of not being able to communicate with each other, they had very similar archetypes symbolizing the same things. And one of the person who did a lot of work on this was the psychologist Carl Jung. He did a lot of research in all the cultures, including India, and he put many of these things together. However, majority of his work comes from study of the archetypes of different cultures. So this is one thing, archetypes. And then there is another element to the language of universe, that is the sound. Sound also has a universal effect. Certain kinds of sound produce certain kind of result in your system. For example, let's say I don't know Spanish, but if I'm listening to two different songs in Spanish, one of them is nice, romantic and exciting, lively song, and Now, I don't know a word of Spanish. I don't understand Spanish. But when that song is played, my body will feel that effect. Like I would, our heads, they, we tap the legs and the body moves, the head also resonates with that music. And then if there is another sad song in Spanish, now I don't know the words, I don't know what they are saying, but I will feel that sadness, I will feel it in my body. By body, not the physical body, but the energy body, it is influenced by sound waves. Different kinds of sounds influence it differently. So, and this is universal. You don't have to know the words of that language, and yet the sound will influence you. So, these two ingredients, the archetype and the sound, when they come together, they form the alphabets of the language of universe or the collective unconscious. And when you use the right combination of the symbol and the sound, and plant your advertisement using this combination to the deep unconscious, to the deep collective pool of consciousness, it is in a way putting an advertisement of what you are looking for in life, and then life responds. Life brings you the thing that you're looking for, because there are some other people also who are also looking for the same thing, and your advertisement somehow reaches them, and life has mystical ways how it will get things done for you. So our task is to identify the right symbol, to identify the right sound, and then to use a specific process to go and plant it to the pool of collective consciousness. How can we do that? So I'm going to explain the process, the symbol, as well as the sound, for now in the context of finding or attracting the right person, right partner in our life. The first thing is we need to identify the symbol. Like as I mentioned, that the universe responds to not words but the images and the symbols or the archetypes. So there are several possible archetypes. For example, the crescent moon, right? The half moon. It doesn't matter it is half on this side or half on that side. The crescent itself is a very powerful symbol of the feeling of love. Right? Now, the crescent, when you use this symbol and when you plant it deep inside, it takes you to the state of love. It brings you the feeling of that you are lovable. And remember, yesterday we talked and day before yesterday we talked that before you can find it outside, it is important that you are in that state. So one symbol that you will be using is the crescent itself, the crescent moon, right? You'll find a picture in our files folder. And then there is another symbol, especially for women. This is funny because you could be in Europe, you could be in far west, like in the southern American continent, or you could be in India, anywhere. If you ask, like, now it might be a little different, but if you ask, like before a few years, the idea of a dream person for someone, for a woman or a girl, then you will find a common answer, like the prince on a white horse, or coming with his all this armor, shining armor. Now, people of India did not meet the people of Europe for thousands of years. People of China did not meet the people of South American continent for thousands of years, and yet this is one archetype which is common through all the barriers of culture. Now, the thing is that I don't know from where the archetypes come. My job is not to figure out how why things work. I figure out what works and I use them. I use telephones. I am not interested, at least I'm not interested in how they work and what are the mechanism. I know it works and I use it. This is what I do with this technique as well. I don't know from where these archetypes comes, how they came, but I know that they are there, and I know that once you use them rightly, it is possible to attract a certain situation. So coming back to the right archetype for women, especially who are looking for a new relationship, first I would recommend to work with the crescent, and then to go on and work with this there is this specific word for it. It's called the knight in the shining armor. So the knight in the shining armor on a white horse, that is an archetype which has been common in all the cultures, and you can use this symbol regularly. Once you use this symbol, it will find the right person who not only is right for you, but also gives you a sense of security. If you see, it is not just the prince, I mean, it is not just some guy on the white horse. It is a prince in the white horse with his armor. The armor symbolizes security, because this is one of the most important thing for feminine energy. Feminine energy's biggest need is to feel secure and cared for, which comes from this symbol. So we have covered two symbols for this, and then about the sound. Now a symbol should be complemented with the right sound, and I did a lot of experiments with this, like because I come from a Brahmin family, and I was fortunate to receive a lot of mantras from my grandfather, and also from some of his friends with whom I spent time. So I tried to combine identify the right mantras for the right symbol, and make these combinations, which ultimately gives the correct the effective results. So for sounds, they are not necessarily always a mantra. I want to tell you, a mantra is not a prayer. A prayer is when you are asking God, give me this, or God do this, or God help me, or God you are great. These are all prayers. Prayers work with words. Mantras, they work with the sound. As I was explaining earlier about the sound of the Spanish songs, in the same manner, you don't have to understand the meaning of them, and many of them do not even have a meaning. They are specific sounds which influence your inner energy body. If you remember, I was talking about the energy body is the film, and the content should be changed. So the mantra, the sound, what it does is it kind of erases the negative patterns which are blocking you from achieving something. The specific mantra, not all mantra. Every mantra is like a different medicine. So if you have pain in hand, you take a particular medicine. If you have pain in teeth, you might take another one. Like there are different mantras for different situations. So the right mantra will remove the karmic causes or the energy patterns which are blocking inside your system, and the symbol will rewrite the content of that film. Together, these two, the combination of the right sound and the symbol, will change the content of the film, and eventually the content of the screen, what you experience out there in the world. So for this particular topic about identifying or attracting the right person in the life, there is a specific mantra, a very short one, which is called Aham Prema. Aham represents I, me, and Prema represents love. So what it says is, I am the love. And here the love is not romantic love. The love is the divine love. I am the divine love. That is the kind of feeling this mantra gives and meaning this mantra gives. But when you use it repeatedly, even though you do not understand Sanskrit, I say to you that with mantras you don't have to bother about language. And they work with the sound, they work with the patterns of sound in your energy body. So once you use that, remember what we were talking yesterday, you need to become love. So this mantra helps you to become love by eradicating all the things which stops you from experiencing that you are love. And then the symbol. So how do you combine these two things, and what is the process? How do you put it there? Now you know the symbol, now you know the mantra, the sound, but how do you put it there? Well, the process is actually very simple, but I would recommend it to do also twice a day. One time it is enough. For example, 7 to 10 minutes is enough, but the two times you should do this process is: one, immediately after waking up, and second, just before you are going to sleep. So actually you don't have to find a special place to do this practice. You could do it in your bed, like just before you are going to sleep. This is the last thing you do. So whatever agendas you have for the bedroom, brushing your teeth and changing this and bed sheet and this, and you do everything. This is the last thing you do before you sleep. So you lie in the bed or you sit in the bed with relaxed body. We have talked earlier about how to relax the body one by one, each part of the body, and then simply create an image of that particular symbol in this area of the forehead, the third eye area of the forehead, and at the same time inside, without needing to make the sound loud, repeat this, chant this sound. See, for this particular practice I am giving you the mantra Aham Prem, but sometimes there are simple sounds, for example like Ah or Om or Soham. So it is different for different practices, but for this particular practice the sound is Aham Prem. So you are sitting with closed eyes, relaxed, having the image here, not trying to do anything with the image. It is possible that you will lose the image, some thoughts will come and you will go on the thought trip. So the moment you realize that you forgot the image, come back from the thought trip. So it is good to realize that you have gone away from it, because when you realize that, you can come back. So don't worry, everybody goes on thought trains, that's totally okay. Every time you realize you have been there, come back to the symbol again, and at the same time keep chanting the mantra. Now you may put alarm for 7 minutes, or you simply continue this practice until you feel really very sleepy, and then go to the bed. And next morning again when you wake up, first thing in the bed you do this, even without stepping outside the bed. Now if for example, for some reason, let's say you are short of time and you cannot manage both the times, then the more powerful practice would be before you are going to sleep. After you wake up is also very important, but if you have to choose only one, I would say choose the one where you do it before you go to sleep. So friends, that's it about the technique. Once you use the right symbol and the right sound and plant it, like this process of just before the sleep, visualizing it and adding the sound, it will take deep down to the collective pool of consciousness, and eventually over a period of several days you will start seeing changes. Remember, there is no magic. If you put the advertisement, it doesn't mean someone will jump to you just like that. Whatever is required for that to happen will happen. That means if you are not ready inside, you want but you are not ready inside, you have mental blocks, the first thing that will happen is you will need to go through a process of clearing this mental block. By life will give you some experiences which might be uncomfortable. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for these practices. They don't change the world, they change you so that you are ready for the world. So be prepared for unusual experiences. Ideally, Any symbol should be practiced for about at least 40 days to get the right result. Some people even get it in a week or 10 days, but that is not standard. Standard practice is for 40 days minimum. So that's about this practice, and you will also find the file with the mantra, the files for the symbols also, which you will be using here. And there can be variations also. You can even print out the symbol for first few days until you get the hang of like you properly can create the image in your mind. Before that, you can use a print from this file, or you can find some other on the internet. So that's about it. With this, I'm going to end the topic of how to find or attract the right person. Remember the steps. In order to do that, you need to be in a state of love yourself. You need to, if you want to find love, the first thing that happens is you need to give love, and before you give love, you need to have it. So you become it. You be in a state of love and start loving every little thing around you. I mean, just start giving. I mean, you don't have to purchase to give to the world. You have it. Feel it. Yesterday we learned about this practice of focusing on the energy body and bringing love to our own self and then spreading it outside. So start from there and then use today's technique to change the content of the film, so that eventually the content of the screen, the world out there will also change. With that, friends, tomorrow I'll be back with another video. Have a great day. Thank you very much.